Lovelies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into today's video. So, lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys. It's all about more details concerning, 23andMe and the reasons behind, all of the board members resigning. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into it.
If you thought American healthcare couldn't get worse, well, new villain unlocked. You see, this is Anne, and well, she had an idea. In 2003, the Human Genome Project was finished, and it changed genetics and, frankly, the world when it successfully sequenced human DNA. And along with two other people, our girl Anne, well, she founded 23andMe with the intention of using the newly sequenced human DNA to help people understand and interpret their own genetics. And over the next 15 years, 23andMe gained a lot of success and a lot of seed money, some of which came from Google. And I do want to point out that Anne here, well, she's married to a co-founder of Google. And one of the things that really made 23andMe different than every other company like them was the fact that they were FDA approved. So technically, they were the only company that could legally do these genetic tests. Now, with all this success, I want you to think about how many people are in 23andMe's genetic database. You might be in there. I'm not. But to answer your question, it's 15 million. 15 million people. Their genetic information just sitting there. And while the intentions may have been great when they started 23andMe, what's one thing that ruins everything? Capitalism. See, when you have a product that people are only going to buy one time, you kind of have a problem with scaling that company, huh? And that's when our girl Anne had a great idea. Why don't we use all of this genetic information we have to develop drugs? And that's when 23andMe became a biotech company, and they started developing drugs based on our genetic information. And according to Anne, this would just make the drugs work better, right? And with some of that newfound cash, they went ahead and acquired Lemonade Health. Because what was everybody doing during the pandemic? Telehealth. Side note, I was pregnant during the pandemic, and even my weekly check-ins with my doctor, those were via telehealth. So the industry became very lucrative. But with this new acquisition, 23andMe had a problem. They had all these overhead costs that simply appeared that they were not prepared for. And on top of this, in October of 2023, hackers breached 23andMe and stole a bunch of data. And recently, 23andMe had to pay out $30 million in settlement money. Which brings us to this week when the entire board of directors resigned from 23andMe. Well, Jasmine, why did they do that? Because good old Anne over here, she wants to take 23andMe private. And what does that mean, Jasmine? Why, that means if 23andMe has your genetic information, it is now for sale to the highest bidder. And who do you think is going to be on the top of that list of bidders? Why, I think it's American healthcare companies. Because while now they can deny you coverage for pre-existing conditions, imagine if they could deny you coverage because you had a genetic disposition to certain diseases. Not to mention targeted advertisements to you based on your genetic information, because they have that. Oh, and also, they're making the pharmaceuticals based on your genetic information. We live in hell.
I did not do the DNA tests when they were hugely popular. I'm adopted, so there's not a lot of shit that I know about my family. So I wanted to know, and I caved because FDA approved. How could I turn that down, right? And I did 23andMe. I need to know, the lawyers of TikTok, can you tell me what our legal rights are in this situation? Because my DNA is one of the DNAs that's out there sitting there for. How do I get repercussions for her actions? How? Because I waited.
That is Anne. She is the CEO and owner of 23andMe. They have been analyzing genetics since before most of you Gen Zers were even born. So I'm not quite sure where you guys are coming up with the conspiracy theories, but if you really want to look into something, you can look into the neurological programming scripts and the petri dishes of brain membranes that we have stored all across the U.S. to be used as AI devices. I mean, honestly, I really wish you guys would look into the research and the development process before you even started to accuse people. I understand that the whole board left. They left because they were changing the business over to a privatized organization, which means that they don't get as much taxpayer-funded subsidization, and they don't have the contracts right now, so it's real work.
Did you hear that all the board members of 23andMe resigned? Every single one of them. Does that mean that they found what they're looking for? Is that why they resigned? They have a bunch of DNA. Lots and lots and lots of people's DNA. Not my DNA, thank goodness, but other people's DNA. Did they find what they were looking for? Is that why they all resigned? I'm a little worried.
What happened to 23andMe? Ooh, 23andMe, the company that lets you learn about where you came from. So, what happened? 23andMe was founded in 2006 by 3 people, one of which was now CEO Anne Wojcicki, who's the sister of longtime former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. Anne was also for a number of years married to Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google. Wow. Okay. When 23andMe was founded in 2006, their whole goal was to offer genetic testing to people who wanted it, but they also wanted to give people the ability to interpret those tests. Over the course of its growth, they had hundreds of millions of dollars in investor funds raised, they had marketing campaigns with Warren Buffett, and grew from Despicable Me. And by 2018, they began partnering with third-party companies to develop new drugs and carry out clinical trials, with their first official partnership taking place in 2018. And by 2021, they merged with a SPAC led by Richard Branson in a deal that was valued at $3.5 billion. So you'd say things were going good. Yeah, I'd say so. They were growing, and at-home genetic testing was pretty quickly becoming a household thing. By 2021, 23andMe had a valuation of $6 billion, and their stock price was at about $16 per share. Wow, okay, so what went wrong? One major problem with 23andMe is the fact that they're a one-and-done product. Unlike skincare or health and wellness products or even medications, which have to be used over and over and over again, 23andMe is a product that you do one time. There is no subscription and no ongoing charge. So as 23andMe went viral, a lot of people tried it, but once those people tried it, they were never going to try it again. I've never thought about that. Yeah, and while it was no doubt part of the game plan for 23andMe to develop medications that would then create that ongoing revenue, they needed to first get 23andMe to a point where it could continue to support that medication growth, and that unfortunately never really panned out the way that they planned. Okay, makes sense. So they never got to the point of developing enough medication to have that carry the business, and because 23andMe was one-time product, their sales started to decline. Exactly. 23andMe did begin offering a yearly subscription later on down the road to combat this, but it never really caught on. But another major issue was data privacy. Data privacy? Yep, there was always a bit of an uphill battle that 23andMe was fighting with data privacy. Is the DNA data that people were giving 23andMe, was that safe? Well, was it? Sort of. In 2018, the Golden State Killer, a prolific killer, was found after his DNA was found in a public genealogy database, which then linked him to the crimes he committed. What does that mean? When the Golden State Killer committed his crimes, he left DNA at the scene, but because police didn't have the DNA in their database, the killer was never found. But at some point in time, someone related to the Golden State Killer took a genealogy test. It was similar to 23andMe, but it wasn't actually 23andMe. And this narrowed down police search to about 20 people. They were able to confirm the Golden State Killer's DNA by collecting a sample, and he was then arrested in 2018. Wow. Yeah, and while this was the first major case that public genealogy was used to link someone to a crime, there have been over 600 cold cases that have done the same thing over the years. But isn't that a good thing, using public DNA to solve crimes? I mean, yeah, and sure, in the case of the Golden State Killer, it was no doubt a good thing, but this did shed light on the fact that your DNA may actually be used for something you weren't really aware it would be used for. And while this could be framed as good, it's also a bit unsettling, and customers surely began to feel this way because this was the real turn for 23andMe. Yeah, I guess I don't know about that. That would make me nervous too. But one of the final major issues for the company was a data breach in 2023. A data breach. Yeah, 23andMe had a massive data breach where 7 million people's data was stolen and then began being sold on the black market. Wait, so like their DNA data? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it wasn't good and truly was a first of its kind, so sort of uncharted territories, and 23andMe has had an accelerated decline ever since. So do you think that 23andMe will disappear? It's probably too soon to tell, but if I had to guess, they'll at some point merge with another company and that company will take it over. So while it won't just up and close, it probably won't stay 23andMe forever either. But in the meantime, data breaches, as well as the newness of 23andMe and genealogy testing waning, I think it's safe to say that 23andMe will never be what it
Like
was.
seriously, lovelies, I believe that there is actually more to this 23andMe and its controversy. Like, why is it that these people decided to resign, and why is it that it's not actually making headlines, you know, the way it is? And why is it that it seems as if they are hiding so many things? Like, a lot of people are actually scared if these people actually have their DNA, or is it that they have, you know, gotten what they are looking for and they decided to, you know, resign and, you know, go after to look for something else? Like, a lot of people have so many questions that is yet to be answered, and this, you know, spite a lot of suspicions and all of that. Like, the thing is that this 23andMe controversy is happening in the same time we did this situation. Now there is another one that is coming up about Beyonce. People, you know, following Beyonce because of a saga that leads to her being prosperous and all of that. Like, I think that these people are actually using, you know, all of this controversy with Diddy, with, you know, Marcelo, and with, you know, Beyonce right now to actually divert people's attention to the real problem that the world is facing. Like, seriously, lovelies, there is a lot going on that actually made the eyes. There's a lot going on that they are trying to hide from the public. Like, why is it that all of them we just resign just like that without actually coming up to, you know, give the reasons, and people are just there beating around the bush trying to find out about what happened? And a lot of people who actually have their DNA tested from, you know, the said company is all out. Like, what are they going to do with my, you know, result? And the thing is that even if you are not tested there, like personally, you might have a relation, you might even have brother and sister or somewhere who might actually have been tested, and their, you know, the data, they have the data and all of that. Like, lovelies, there is a lot that is going on. You know, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I posted, you know, something like this from great, like, she's a very good TikToker, and I follow her. She tells things about, you know, historical things, and she went ahead to talk about how this 23andMe of a thing have a connection with what is happening. It has a connection with a said sheep, which she gave so many scenarios, which she actually talked about how there are so many things these people are hiding. There are so many, you know, things that is going to get so bad that people really need to prepare for the worst that might happen. And coupled with this, there is a lot that I'm getting, about a shortage of food supplies, which everyone is encouraging everyone to make sure that they actually have enough food supply, because there will be a very huge surge coming. So there is there is a lot going on, which I just hope that everyone and everybody is going to be okay. Like all of the hidden things, hidden secrets coming out by this time, like the election, you know, popping on its way. Like, guys, this is actually a season to pray, to follow the right path, to get very aware of yourself, not to get yourself in trouble, not to get yourself entangled with something that you cannot even mention. Let's just, look at the other day, Mercedes and all of that, the controversy, and this innocent man was actually, caught up, even if they do not find any form of evidence to pin on him. Like, but he was actually, you know, so if something like that should happen, that means no one is, everybody needs to be very careful. Everyone needs to be careful. Even if you are found innocent, you might actually, not even get away with it, because the way at which the world is moving right now, the way at which people are so eager to, deal with people, especially the people that looks like me, is something that everyone should not even write home about. So when I saw this video, I actually got it, and I find it very interesting and enlightening, because this is just a period at which everyone needs to, like, get information, share it, to know what is going on, to actually get aware of what is happening, so that you will actually know when to act fast. So that's why I decided to just put it up here. If you have any other info, if you have any other commentaries, you can just put it in the comment section. Correct me if I'm wrong. I am just here to, like, put it out there for us to be so aware of ourselves. Anyway, lovelies, if I've watched up to this extent, why not just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. And if you've not subscribed, do you get a huge favor to subscribe, leave a thought, and I will see you, lovelies. Do you get a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like this video, share, leave your thoughts, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.